All right, welcome back. Episode 17 of Invest Info. The channel is moving along. People are learning. That's a good point. Learning how to invest, right? This week's lesson, I want to speak on Wall Street versus Main Street and how there's a lot of times a disconnect between what the stock market is doing and what Main Street is doing, which is pretty much what the economy is doing and what the stock market is doing. As you can see in March, there was a huge sell-off, and in the heat of the turmoil, stocks were going up. And if you got out the market um, due to fear and at a loss, a lot of people regretted that. I mean, because the stocks that they sold off, if they're not doubled by now, some of them are tripled, even quadrupled in price. And the market is reciprocal. People's emotions are reciprocal. They will do the same thing over again and again and again. And I'm going to play a snippet of Warren Buffett speaking in 1962. And why do I use Warren Buffett? Because of his track record. I mean, this guy turned a $15 stock into a $335,000 stock with the power of compounding. And his fundamentals are sound. And I mean, look at the guys that came out of Buffett, whether it's Phil Town or Monesh Pabrai. Phil Town, Rule One Investing. You could also subscribe to his page. He always speaks about how he got into Chipotle at $55, and the stock right now is trading at $1,344 as of today. So there is a way to find solid investments. I remember Benjamin Graham always says that the market is manic depressant, right? So it's going to be throwing prices at us all day. For the most part, those prices are going to be accurate, but there's going to be times where Mr. Market is going to give us prices that doesn't make any logical sense, but that benefit us, whether it's to buy or whether it's to sell. With that said, let's listen to this interview. Warren Buffett speaking on the stock market drop of 1962.
I think the president's action on steel probably had something to do with the timing of the decline, but I don't think it was the factor which determined the amount of the decline. For some time, stocks have been rising at rather rapid rates. Corporate earnings have not been rising. Dividends have not been increasing, and it's not to be unexpected that perhaps a correction of some of those unusual factors on the upside might occur on the downside.
Well, some observers from time to time say that the stock market is a forecaster of events to come. Can you predict, or would you care to take a look at what you think this might be forecasting, the decline?
The stock market has been a good forecaster from time to time in the past. It also has been a rather poor forecaster occasionally. For example, the last 4 or 5 years, the stock market has been booming along and presumably forecasting better business, which has really not materialized. Corporate profits are not any better than they were 5 years ago, but stock prices are 50% higher or thereabouts. So maybe the stock market is really correcting a previous incorrect forecast this time rather than making a new correct one.
Well, in a nutshell, Mr. Buffett, can you give us your opinion of just exactly what happened, what caused it?
Well, there was undoubtedly some forced selling the week when the stock market hit the news. The previous week, prices had declined about 6% for the week on average. And there was some stock that was forced upon the market both by margin calls from brokers and some that was forced out by improperly secured bank loans. And this in turn set up a self-generating mechanism on the downside for a while, which we may have seen the last of and which we may not have seen the last of.
So, in a nutshell, what Warren Buffett is saying is sometimes the market will forecast Main Street. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it corrects its mistakes. And our job really is not to try to predict the market, right? We're in the business, so simple, of buying $10 bills with $5. And if you do that enough, you don't even need many companies to do it. If you do it enough over a period of time, you will become wealthy. And it's really that simple. So that's what we're in the business of. We're not in the business of predicting the market, trying to follow trends or any things of that nature. Our job is simply to disregard what Mr. Market is doing and find good businesses at a price that is heavily discounted, and that can happen from strange events. Let's admit it, crises, right? Whether it's a global crisis or a crisis with a particular company where, Phil Towns Chipotle, Mexican Grill, right? They had the Ebola scare, which drove the market price down, but the fundamentals never changed. The value didn't really change. It stayed down there for about 2-3 years, but eventually shot right back up to $1,000. So it fell down to $200 and eventually went back up to 1,000. So our job really is to find good businesses that we understand. We're not really concerned about Main Street, what the economy is doing per se, but or what really the market is doing per se. We're just in the businesses. Our job as investors are to buy $10 bills with $5, right? So, especially with the midst of the election, certain people are saying the market will go red if Biden wins because of increased taxes, which will cause a sell-off, which could possibly happen, or the market going green with a President Trump re-election because he plans to even cut taxes even lower, keep interest rates low, and create asset inflation in the stock market. That's not really our concern either. Our primary focus is to find businesses that we understand. Are they traded at a heavily discounted price? Do we see it growing? And are we going to be compensated for our wait, whether it's a form of a dividend payment or how is the management team reinvesting the extra capital? So we just do our homework. So again, Wall Street is disconnected from Main Street. So don't let Main Street be your primary factor of investing. You shouldn't be, oh, the economy is great, so let me invest now, or the economy is terrible, let me not invest, because the two are pretty much separate from each other. All right, so that was it, episode 17, and I'll see you on the next one.